I was, embarrassed that I can't afford to get help. I have to ask my family. It's a very hard thing when you have to ask your family.
The Alzheimer's Association estimates that more than 300,000 people in Massachusetts and 175,000 in Connecticut are providing unpaid elder care to family members with memory loss and medical needs. Are you trying to provide home care to a parent to save them from having to go to a nursing facility? If you're wondering how you and other family members can get paid, this video will explain how a caregiver contract can enable you to achieve those goals without risking legal problems and lost Medicaid eligibility in the future for your parent. If you want a government agency like Medicaid or a court to agree that money paid to you for elder care wasn't really just a gift given by your parent, you have to have a legally enforceable contract. We'll cover common mistakes made by families who didn't know how a caregiver contract applies to elder care. We'll hear from one family summoned to Hartford bankruptcy court to explain the care needs of Stanley, their husband and father.
Stanley had a real bad skin disease.
His disability was so bad, he was very immobile, and he was a larger person, so he was harder to take care of. You had to lift him, be careful not to, let him fall. Just cleaning of them. And
had to wash Stanley every day. Stanley had to either be put in the bathtub or in the shower, so they would have to do it if I wasn't there.
These are the voices of a surviving spouse and her sons describing the elder care that they provided.
I sometimes have to show up at nights too to help him to bed.
Was your father okay to be by himself?
So sometimes okay, maybe just for a little while, just maybe an hour or two out of the day.
Okay.
The family tried to convince a bankruptcy court to allow the transfer of the family home to one of the sons as payment for the care he provided after his father came home from a facility.
I couldn't really afford the convalescent home anymore. I had a 3-family house. I sold it and bought a little house and had it made handicap accessible for him.
I told her, if we're going to leave the house in my name and I'm going to put work with my father, I would like to, be paid back with the house.
Because it was a thing that I said to him that you will get the house for taking care of your father. And that would be his payment.
The mistakes made by the family in Hartford are the same mistakes and misunderstandings that have disqualified people in Massachusetts from Medicaid when the time came to graduate from home care to nursing home care. By the end of this video, you'll realize that a caregiver contract is more than just a document printed on paper. You'll understand that a caregiver contract is the end result of a careful planning process that considers your needs and the needs of your parent or the person you're caring for. If you watch the complete version of this video, I'll give you summaries of some of the MassHealth cases where people made the same mistakes and Medicaid denied benefits to a nursing home resident who had paid their children for home care without a valid caregiver contract. Because there was no legal contract in this case, the son in the Hartford bankruptcy had no claim for payment for elder care that he provided to his father.
He did not believe that he had a legally enforceable obligation that he could enforce against his mother. There was simply no value given in exchange for this transfer, and the transfer should be avoided.
With no enforceable contract, the judge found that the son's claim for payment must regrettably fail under the law. The judge said that the son was simply taking care of his family because he loved them.
And in fact, you kept no records of the times and the dates you spent caring for your father, did you?
No, I didn't.
$181,000 of that is for the personal care you provided to your father. So there's no documentation of $181,000 of this claim.
There's no documentation.
The son kept no contemporaneous records of any kind for the time spent caring for his father. There was, in the words of the court, a glaring deficiency of documents supporting the entirety of the claim. A parent is free to transfer money or property to their son or daughter or anyone else. After all, it is theirs to give. But if the parent will be needing eligibility for Medicaid or protection from creditors in the future years, transferring a house or other assets can cause penalties for the parent.
We never discussed money. There would never discuss money in a family. It was basically, I asked him, can you help me? I will give you the house if I need help, because Stanley is a two-person lift. I owed him money and time for the work that he did, but I didn't have the money to give him. I was, embarrassed that I can't afford to get help. I have to ask my family. It's a very hard thing when you have to ask your family.
Family promises and unwritten plans cannot be enforced in a government agency like Medicaid or in a court.
And you're aware that if you're compensated for services, then that compensation will be income that you'd have to report on your income tax return, right?
Right.
But you didn't report it.
No, I didn't report it. I didn't know if I had to report anything if I was doing work for my parents or something like that.
The son's federal tax return does not indicate that he received any compensation. If you have a legally enforceable contract and you're getting paid, you have to comply with income tax and employment laws. Tax law compliance makes elder care sustainable during the months and years of an elder care journey, and it proves to anyone in government that the payments are not a gift. Now let's look at the common elder care planning mistakes that matter to MassHealth and cause Medicaid denials. A mother who signed a personal services contract with her daughter and transferred a $20,000 lump sum to the daughter was denied Medicaid. The daughter had no records of the hours worked or anything she did for her mother, so she couldn't prove that the payment was for fair market value. The son and daughter-in-law of a nursing home resident had to give back half of the $48,000 that they were paid for care at an hourly rate that was twice the market rate for caregivers. A doctor certified that home care had delayed nursing home admission, but MassHealth denied the application of the nursing home resident, who transferred $150,000 to her son and daughter-in-law. The couple did indeed provide care for 4 years prior to the admission, but there was no evidence of what type of care was needed and no evidence of any agreement or contract between the parties. MassHealth denied the appeal of a nursing home resident who reimbursed her daughter $15,000 for home care. The daughter had left her job and moved in with her mother for 1 year before the nursing home admission, but there was no written contract and no pattern of payment for services. Lump sum checks totaling $27,000 were written to a daughter after her mother was admitted to a nursing home. Daughter said the money was retroactive payment for at-home care and rent, but MassHealth rejected that and rejected a care contract that said the daughter was supposed to be paid every week. MassHealth questioned whether the contract was enforceable because it was signed after the daughter moved in with her mother to manage the mother's severe memory loss. That contract was questioned because mom may not have been legally competent to sign it. Let's do a recap of what needs to be in place if you got paid and the time comes for your parent to apply for Medicaid. You need a legally enforceable contract signed by a competent parent or the person representing the parent under power of attorney. You'll need written records of care services provided, the hours worked and wages paid. The wages must be comparable to market rates. In other words, what other people would be paid for the same work. During the Medicaid look-back period, real estate and other assets can't be transferred in lump sums that look like gifts. And both the parent, who is the employer, and the child who gets paid must comply with income tax and employment laws. People who end up worn out and close to bankruptcy can often have prevented the hardship by working with a caregiver contract and complying with MassHealth regulations that give access to Medicaid resources. There are a lot of you out there who know what your parents need, but you're not sure how to achieve the safe, sustainable care plan. I can prepare your legally enforceable caregiver contract that explains the care that you provide at fair market rates in compliance with income tax and employment laws. After watching this video, you may want to write down the things that are important to you, the care needs your parent has now, and the care that he or she may need in the future. Schedule an educational meeting to learn how we can plan a caregiver contract. I'll explain how you can avoid the mistakes to reach your goal of providing home care that keeps your parent safe, elder care that is sustainable for months or years into the future. There is a tax-free way to get paid for providing elder care. It's called adult foster care. It's one of several frail elder waiver programs that I discuss in a free fact sheet available at MassHealthHelp.com.